Hello, people.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me okay?
Hi.
Yes.
Yeah,
How
we
are you?
Hello. Happy New Year.
Happy
have
New Year.
here.
Can you believe 2026? What is going on?
Time
Yeah.
is just flying, flying.
Isn't it?
Mm,
Scarily, scarily.
absolutely.
But thank you all for joining. We've got Amy Lee, Kelly, Sylvie, Marissa, Linda, Nicola, and Conductor of Spirits. So if you are joining people, if I can ask, just get your cameras on just for our own safety and security, but also so I can see your faces, so I know who's asking the questions, right? Um, so that is really it, really, for you guys, is to utilize me for the next hour to ask me whatever you like. Within reason. So
Mm,
yeah, I think any question you got about your development or anything else, now's the time to basically utilize me. And if people know me, now I'll give a very honest answer, obviously based on my own experience. So when I do the Q&A, I always say that when I give my answers, it's always based on personal experience, not to take away from any learnings or teachings that you've done before, but it's based on my own personal experience, right? And I always say with with spiritual stuff, right? I know we all experience it, and that's why you're here, because we all experience it in our own way. But I always say it's just an opinion, because most of what we do is not really backed up by fact. So let's be honest, right? Science still trying to
mm,
catch up with us, and so I'm very conscious that I I only speak from personal experience, because I see a lot of people on social media, on TikTok and all that jazz, where they're talking about certain topics as if it was a fact, and I'm thinking, well, that's just not a fact, is it? Because you've got nothing to back that up. It might be an experience, and so sell it like one, but don't sell it as a fact, because some things people say are just horrendous. And I think, oh my
mm,
God, what are we doing here? And so I'm very conscious of that. Whatever I say is not to necessarily convince people of what I believe, but it's just based on my own experience and that kind of thing.
mm,
So I'll always be very honest with my answers and things like that. So
mm.
so yeah, the floor is yours really to ask what you like, and I'll give an honest answer. So whoever wants to start us off, then do start us off. And anyone that's that can't join us this evening, you'll be able to watch this back on YouTube probably tomorrow. So if people didn't get here live, you can watch it back, and you guys can watch it back as well if you've forgotten an answer that I've given you. But anyhow, yeah, floor is yours. So if anyone wants to start, hand up or just shout out. I don't really mind how you want to do it. Yeah, up to you. So, who's got a burning question that they've been wanting to ask? Oh, Amy Lee's got her hand up. Amy Lee, you can unmute and ask. Hello, Amy Lee.
David, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. Um, it's been a rough week. I'm fighting the plague. I got the flu. But anyway,
Oh, that's terrible, isn't it?
it's everyone around my area. So I wanted to ask you, it's kind of a multi-part question, but it's based off the first one. And do you ever get exhausted after you demonstrate?
The quick answer is yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's
So I'm,
go on.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I think I think when you do demonstrations, that you use so much energy, because if you are a platform medium, you're aware that it's not just you and one person. You've got a whole entire audience there in front of you. So you're trying to keep up the energy so that when you are reading for one person, the other people don't switch off. And so I'm very aware of that. That although I'm reading for that person over there, there's still people over here,
Yeah.
which I've still got to try and engage at some. So if I'm just there going, well, you've got a nan here and she's got grey hair and she's knitting. There's no energy behind that at all. And so I'm
Mm,
aware that, I've got to bring it. So yeah, it is tiring. It is tiring, yeah.
I'm pretty early on in my development, working with Hannah, and I'm having some success, and it's quite enthralling and exhilarating, but trying to bring through spirits is exhausting for me. And I didn't kind of she talks about it, but it hit me in a way that I wasn't really prepared for initially once I started practicing more and more and more. And
Yeah.
I guess my question for you is, Do you have any ways to mitigate the exhaustion? Do you have any tricks of the trade? And
Yeah.
if you do, like if is it just something that you have to deal with, acknowledge, accept that it's going to be part of it? Do you have any ways to mitigate it? And how do you like to recharge afterwards?
Yeah, no, all very good questions. The first thing I would say is to ultimately is looking after yourself first, which might sound obvious, but not everyone does it, right? Because as live as it is, we're just on a hamster wheel. So just keep going and going and going and going and going until we fall off. Right. We don't want to fall off. We want to be able to step off and step back on when we need to. And so it's looking after yourself. Remember that you are that antenna for spirit. And if that antenna is not strong or it's got a few bends, a few bends in it, then it might not work as well as we'd like it to if it was in tip-top condition, right? So it's easier said than done, but it is just about I don't go into all this. You can't eat meat, and can't do this, and you can't do that, and you might as well not breathe. Do you know what I mean? Because you get all those people say you can't do this, you can't do that. If you it's not necessarily that, but it's just being aware of you and making sure that you're also putting yourself at the center of things as well, and not constantly giving, giving, giving. And I think the way this work is that we do want to give, we do want to help, and it's not always reciprocated. So, like any job that you do, if you're just giving, 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 and you get nothing back, there's a point where you go, do you know what? I'm going to break here in a minute because there's nothing coming back at me to give me any motivation to keep doing what I should be doing. And so you need to make sure that you are also receiving some of that back as well, in whatever way, shape, or form that is. The other thing I would say is it does, believe it or not, it does get easier.
I was actually going to ask that as well. Does it
It
progressively
it
get a little
it
bit less and
it
less?
it does, because I think at what I found through my journey is at the beginning, when you are first start developing, you're so excited about it because you go, oh, I've got a dead person here. Oh, I can speak to that, and you're excited about the evidence that comes through. You're excited about the connection that you're making, and so because of that, you are giving it everything. You are giving it your energy. You're giving it full pelt, right? And when I at the beginning of my development, I was told by another medium, David, take your foot off the gas, because I was going, 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 going. And so because you're giving, 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 you're tired, 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 tired. But the further you go along, you realize actually I don't need to give all the energy to have my connection because it's there. So the further along you go, the more relaxed you get into it, and it becomes to feel more natural, and you're doing less work to get the connection, because finally you get to a point where you go, but I trust that if I just stand here, just open my mouth, something is going to come out. But at the
Mm.
beginning, you don't realize that. So you're trying to do everything you can to get that connection. And so the energy is very different. So the further you go along, the more you relax into it and the less energy you have to use. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is still tiring, but less so because you're more comfortable within it rather than being too tense in it. Because when you first start, there is that anxiety and that nervousness of, am I going to be able to do this? What if I sit in front of my client and nothing comes through? And then all that tenseness and that anxiety, that's energy. And you've just zapped yourself off that because you've been worrying about too much about the connection. Whereas again, when you get more into it and you feel you relax more into it, you're not using all the energy so much. And so it does get less tiring. I mean, for me, I try, if I've got a demonstration in the evening, I try not to work that day, only because I know if I've got private readings and then I've got to go and do a demonstration, no, yeah, I might as well be talking to you from the spirit world.
Mm.
Because I mean, I did it once, I won't ever do it again, but I used to do psychic fairs. And I remember it was a Christmas, and I think I read for 9 people during the day. And then I went home, I did an online demonstration for an hour and a half, and I was sick for 2 weeks after that. And so I learned that lesson. I will never do that
Disaster.
ever again. And so I'm not saying you need to go for that lesson. Take my lesson as a lesson for you and don't do it, basically. So it's
Mhm.
about pacing yourself and not giving too much of yourself away at any one time.
Mm.
It's keeping some back for yourself.
Pacing is hard when you're early on.
No,
Just
I get it.
diving right in and
Yeah,
taking on more than I can chew, and I'm like, oh yeah, I did that to myself. Hmm.
yeah, no, I get it. But it's not necessarily a bad thing because it shows you're passionate about it, right? So the indication is you're here to do it. This is what you're meant to do. You're enjoying it. And that's what I say to people, don't do this work if you don't enjoy it. If you're passionate about it, then do it. But you've got to look after yourself at the same time. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. Nice question. Right, who's got the next one? Who's got another question for me? Don't be shy.
Hi, David.
Hi, Marissa.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I would classify myself as like pre-connection. I've not made any sort of, mediumship connection or anything like that. But I am very new to all of this because I kind of had my first big sign. Like I came across Laura Lynn Jackson. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she's
Yeah.
Yeah. So I asked for my first big sign from the universe and I got it on November 22nd. And so that's how recently I've kind of been like, oh my gosh, like
Well,
this
okay.
I've just been in an intense, as you can imagine, intense period of learning and reassessing and reorganization. And I feel like my energy's been all over the place because I got this big, beautiful sign and I was like, oh crap, like this is real. This is real. And like they're with me. And so what I did was I got a tarot deck. I was like, I'm gonna talk to my guides. And so I got it. And for about 2 weeks, I was using that tarot deck a lot. And I was having like conversations and I could tell like, oh, they really are with me. They really are answering me. And then I got to a point where I could tell they were like, it's time to put this down. Like, this is too much. This is not the modality that you're meant to interact with us in. And, after I learned like, oh, you can learn mediumship abilities, you can learn psychic abilities. And I am an extremely purpose-driven coach for, people in their careers. And so I expressed to them, hey, I would really like to develop the abilities. I feel like this could be helpful in my path of helping people reach their full potential. So I felt like they basically cut me off from the tarot deck. I started getting really negative answers, the same cards over and over again. It was hard for me. It was really emotional. I felt like I had been like broken up with and cut off. And, since then it's been such a roller coaster. Like there have been times where I felt so expanded and loved and connected. And there have been other times where I've been like, oh my gosh, well, I know what I need to do is like work on controlling my own energy and like raising my frequency and all of that stuff. And then at some points in that, I felt like anger. I'm like, well, this feels unfair. Why would you withhold clear communication to the people who seemingly need it most if their vibration is low? And so overall, I would classify it all as beautiful. And I'm in a good place now. I'm, not going to pressure myself with trying to make contact or make connection or anything like that. And I've kind of decided that the month of January is just for me to just like settle my energy and work on myself and all of that. But I, love to hear any of your insights about that part of the journey and feeling cut off and working on your vibration, your frequency and all of that.
Yeah. So there's been many times in my development journey where I have felt like spirit have left me, right? And I wrote about it in my book as well, where there were times where I would sit there and I'd go, I can't, where have my guides gone? Have they left me? What's going on here then? And it really worried me because I then thought, okay, was it just a fluke the first time then? Or is something going on here I don't quite understand, but I feel like I've just disappeared on me. And actually, I went to the Arthur Findlay College in the UK for the open weekend, and I had a reading with a medium. I'd actually had spiritual assessment with a medium there, and I didn't tell her anything, but she picked up on the fact that I was worried because I felt like my spirit guides had left me, right? And I hadn't given anything away to her at all, but she'd picked that up. And the way she explained it to me, and what I've learned is they haven't left. Sometimes during this journey, and we know it can be a bit of a rough old ride, is that they won't leave us, but they will sometimes step back. And that's because there might be a certain point in our life where we need to make decisions, and we need to come to our own conclusion on certain parts of our life. But in order to do that, they step back to give us that space. And I think because sometimes for some people who I've spoken to previously or been aware of, they've been too, what's the word I'm looking for? They've been too attached to their spirit guides. Now, what I mean is, no, dependent, that's probably a better word. They're too dependent on their guides, and they almost can't live their life without a guide telling them something. Now, for me, that's an unhealthy way to live. And it's a little bit like people who go for readings every week or every month. To me, that's unhealthy, because you are relying on an unseen person, spirit, entity, whatever you want to call it, to run your life for you. And so I don't think that's necessarily healthy. And so even now, I mean, even when I do demonstration platform now, I'll talk to my guides, but I don't necessarily hear anything back. But I just have to trust that they are still there. And so I know that sometimes in order for us to experience something or go through a rough ride, I know they're there, but they will step back so we can heal. And so so now I don't worry about it. If I don't feel them, I don't feel them, but I still know I can still do the job. And so, yeah, I've had that many times in this journey. So you're not alone, where I think, oh God, am I making the whole thing up over here? Or, have they left me? Do they still love me? And all that kind of stuff. They do. It's just sometimes we need to go through things. And even if I'm not well, you'd think your spirit guides would be there to cheer me up, wouldn't you? No. They disappear because they know I need my energy, not to connect, but to process not process, the wrong word, but to get better, to get my body and my mind back to full health. So that's what I would say to that. And look, I believe everything has its time, right? And I believe that sometimes, we might start the journey, but something will happen sometimes. Something, spanners will get thrown in the works. Doesn't mean you won't come back to it. But sometimes, like I said, for January, a lot of people I know, some mediums I know, have taken January off because they need that month to assimilate, to work out, okay, what did I learn from 2025? Because it's a rough old year. What am I going to take into this year? And so, I mean, I took a couple of weeks off at the end of this year just to reset and kind of look at, okay, what did I learn in 2025? What do I want to take into this year? What do I don't? But I have to make those decisions. Spirit can't make them for me. They might be able to give me a prod and say, right, maybe let's do this, or let's go over there, let's try this out. But ultimately it's up to me. And so over that 2-week break, I didn't feel spirit, but I got signs. I got those signs. So I know they're still there, but I didn't feel them. I just knew, okay, someone's trying to tell me something over here, because I keep seeing that set of numbers or that set of numbers. And, so the important thing is with this work, and a lot of people, Hannah's probably said it a lot as well, is that a big part of it is personal development. So that personal development is just about us going into our own zone, sorting our own heads out without anyone else interfering, whether it be spirit or another person. And so, sometimes you've got to take that bit of a break away and then come back to it. I do it now and again. Some weeks I'll have no readings at all. Other weeks I'll be fully booked, but that's okay with me. Because I can then break away from it and just reset myself, rather than just keep going and go. Because I think you've only got so much spiritual power in one day or whatever to do things, right? Otherwise we'll just be left exhausted. So I hope that answers your question, Marissa.
Yeah, no, it's really nice to just hear from other people who have gone through it. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
I'll just ask a question.
Hi, Linda.
Hiya, how are you? I'm from Dublin.
Love it. I know, I love it.
My teacher is Annie T. And
Annie T.
But how I found her, it was just unbelievable. It was actually it was actually my fingers typing that found her. Anyway, it's a long story, but I'm only new to the development circle. But the way it is, all my life, I suppose, I had the hunger inside me for, I don't know what it was, but people would say to me, how do you know that? I would feel an energy when I'd meet somebody or I'd see something
Yeah.
in them, but I would always kept it to myself. And I was always hiding away from it all these years, saying, oh, I do this course, I do this, and whatever, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, as in computers, but my passion was this. But always shying away from it and things like that. But to the extent that, like, I would see things in people or I would feel things before they'd even happen.
Yeah.
And it just happened. It's just unbelievable. It just happened like that, how I found Annie T. And it's just that the hunger is just unbelievable. But I just start doing my own development through my own homework because I have the passion. But with being in a safe zone with like-minded people in the development circle, for me to feel comfortable, because you can't just sort of say to someone, they think you're bonkers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bonkers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But things have happened, like, you know, before my mother passed away, like, you know, I used to say, God, what's that breeze or whatever on my leg or whatever, but it was all the energies around. But I just wanted to ask you a question, which I'm sort of baffled. I just don't know what direction that I'm going to go in, because I'm saying to myself, like, I talk to my guides daily. You know, the way sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. But things that would happen, you know, I know they're there. But I feel that my journey is for helping people. I don't know, there's some type of healing, helping. It's like a whirlpool. Like if they said to me, well, you're here to do this, whatever, but I don't know what I'm to do.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to work on myself, but I'm just going on it's like just a journey, a tree of life. That's what I would call it, with all branches. So
Yeah. How I started was, my development started psychic first. I didn't jump straight into mediumship. And what I found was, when I found so I started doing my own, actually, I started doing my own development online, so doing my own research and all that stuff.
yeah,
Again, like you, I was passionate. So I was doing all that stuff, and it started off psychic. And then it just naturally, I didn't ask for it, but it just naturally led me to mediumship. And so I can't really put a catalyst on it. What happened? Basically, what it was, like you, I said to myself, I can't do it by myself because I don't know what I'm doing. I need, I don't know what we call it, a tribe or a group, whatever word you want to put on it, that can understand what I'm doing here, because none of my family do it. And so I never told anyone when I first started developing either, because I thought they think I've lost the plot, or David's doing something new again. And so I then found a spiritualist church and then joined a circle, and that's when my mediumship started. And as I started the mediumship, the healing then came into it as well. And so I didn't purposefully go down those avenues. It was more one led to the other, but I knew I had to start somewhere. So for me, if I was you, I would just, what are you actually, let me ask a question. What are you looking at the moment? What are you researching at the moment? What's your main focus?
I suppose really it's like, it's just, it's like giving guidance, like what am I doing at the moment?
Yeah. So that's what I was going to say, is I would start with the psychic, and given the guidance and given the help that way, because even being a medium, you have to use the psychic senses.
Yeah.
And people don't tend to get that a lot, understand why, but to be a medium, you're using your clear senses just like a psychic is, but the clear senses are a psychic sense. And so we have to get that foundation first, and then the mediumship comes in afterwards. So I think for you, I would start looking at more around the psychic stuff and sitting in. I know are you in Annie T Circle?
I am, yes.
Okay, so that's a great place to start, a great foundation to build on, because once if
Yeah,
you're in that space with like-minded people, you can build upon that and
yeah,
then see where it goes from there. Because ultimately, healing is not just your Reiki or whatever else. Healing
yes,
is mediumship. Healing is it's all that we do in mediumship is healing, whether it's hands-on or verbal or whatever it might
yeah.
be. What we're doing is healing people through our words if we're doing mediumship.
Mm.
So you will
And what,
find, go on.
yeah, the psychic. So what is that entail? Like, so that's in the development circle. Like, can you explain that a bit more? Like, sorry, don't be taking too
Yeah,
much of
so
your time.
so the psychic is where you're working with the living people rather than the dead. That could
That's
come
what I,
in if you want it to come in,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So psychic is starting with reading people. So whether it be
that's,
reading them
yeah,
just without any tools, whether it be using cards or pendulums
yeah,
or whatever
yeah,
else, whatever tea leaves, whatever you want to use,
yeah,
all
yeah,
that psychic. Because once you start opening that psychic function, it then opens up everything else afterwards,
yeah, yeah.
right? If you
That's
want to go there, because I know some
that's
people,
exactly what I'm doing at the moment. Like,
okay,
without even uh like educating myself, it just comes to me.
yeah,
So
absolutely. So
I need to learn, develop, so that I will be able to practice that like in time to come.
yeah,
Because
exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
And it's just toning that in as well. So
yeah,
you know where
yeah,
it's coming from, what you're getting. So I
mm,
would I would work on that. I have got some online workshops coming very soon.
okay,
From beginners to intermediate and advanced will come at another point. But yeah, I've got some workshops I've just created. I've got workout dates and things like that. Then they'll be available to do. So
mm,
if you're interested in them, keeping out there. But sitting in the
mm,
circle with Annie T would be great because you're there in the physical space. You've got other people there. So I would start with the
mm,
psychic. And you'll find once you get used to the psychic senses and how they work, you'll have a better
yeah,
understanding of then, okay, if they work like this, that's how spirit are going to work through me as well. So
mm, mm,
it's getting because that's a great base, a great foundation, because all mediums are psychic, whether they like it or not.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But not all psychics go to the medium. Because I know some psychics who don't want to do mediumship because they don't
mm,
want to talk to dead people, frankly.
yeah,
They're for whatever reason, but they're quite happy doing the
mm,
psychic readings because people need that guidance. People need that
yeah.
direction because people
That's
do
the
feel
word,
lost.
direction. Yeah. I can
So
just ask you, David, like the other way, like I was going to go into Tara, the other way, the Tara cards, like so,
oh, tarot card,
or
yeah.
or Reiki. Which would you say would be uh either one or the other? Do you know what I mean? It's with Annie T, like she has her the courses and that. So because I have
Yeah.
like the spiritual cards, the tree of life, angel cards, light worker, oracle. So I'm like I want to go in the right way, but I don't know. It's like the role is like do. Like I'm going to start there psychic, but I have to learn and go the right way to learn to educate
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah. I think what my advice would be, if anybody as well, is not doing too much at the same time.
Yeah,
Because I feel then we end up being the jack of all trades, master of none.
yeah,
And so I
mm,
think that we have to figure out, okay, I mean mediumship and healing tend to go together anyway. But then doing psychic stuff and tarot cards and everything else on top of that, we're then dividing ourselves into too many spaces and not quite mastering any of them. So
yeah,
I mean, you got to go with what you feel is right and where you're being pulled, and that just comes down to listening to yourself and paying attention to your
mm,
intuition. If you're focusing on the psychic,
mm,
I then I would use the tools that go along with that. So that's the tarot cards, the oracle cards, all those kind of things, because you
yeah,
can then that's when your interpretation and your intuition really opens up. Because I
mm,
find that if I do a psychic reading, I'll get my cards out, right? And I'll be there for half an hour. I still don't pick the card up because those cards in the beginning help me to tune into my intuition. But now I've
mm,
been doing it for a while, they just sit there looking at me basically,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
just rabbit on
yeah,
what's coming on
yeah.
in
I
my mind.
understand.
So,
Yeah,
but
thank you.
the cards are a great way to go. Right, that's going to help me tune
Mm,
into this. That's going to help me tune into that, and then you look at symbolism of things, and even look at the symbolism in cards helps you with your frame of reference later. You can go, oh, I know what that symbol is
mm,
then. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
so as an example, with the tarot cards, if I'm doing a reading and I see the Sun card in my head, I interpret that from the meaning of the card. So
Mm,
that's now in my knowledge bank that I
mm,
can then use. So
yeah.
I would say that's probably what I would say to you. But ultimately, you've got
Mm.
to go with what feels right to you as well.
Because I don't feel that I'm drawn to mediumship. I don't mean that way. I don't feel,
No, no, that's, yeah.
the other way. Like I don't sort of feel it, but it just, I feel the other way more so because of encounters which I would have. But I do my own like sort of meditation and stuff like that. But I know the other way. It's just the passion is just like everything is just knowledge to me. It's knowledge and learning,
Hmm. Learn
and
as
that's
much
what
as you can. Learn as
that's
much as you
exactly,
can.
yeah. Thank you for that, David. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. Anytime.
Never stop talking.
That's that's why we're here.
Right, that's why I'm on every single thing every week.
I love it. Now you've got to
Yeah.
learn. I always say to people, so this is not a 6 week course. This is
No.
a absolute journey, isn't it? I'm sure
Yeah.
Hannah said the same thing as well. Sounds Annie T. This is not 6 weeks
Mm.
over here.
Oh, it's fantastic. And I'm just so blessed at how I encountered it. And I love listening to all the podcasts
Mm,
Caroline made. Pam, it's just the hunger. And, even to yourself, the spirit, the other way when the girl from Australia, I can't even mention the names. It's just like, I just like, someone might lighten up when they watch Fair City and EastEnders. I just lighten up. Oh my God, this is on today. This is on. What's this?
marvelous. No, love that. Love it.
Mm. Yeah,
Right. And
thank you.
who else got a question?
Hi, David.
Hi, Sylvie. Hello.
I have a question. How was your first demonstration? When it was? And what did you feel? And why do you love it?
Oh, okay. So my first demonstration in a public in a physical place, because before that, after COVID, I think it was 2021, I started doing online demonstrations, like on Zoom, but they're very different to actually being in a physical space. And so my very first one was April. What's the day? I can't remember. It was April 2023,
Okay.
and I only did it because I was basically made to do it. So basically, what happened was, I medium called Bill Hughes. Some of you might follow Bill Hughes. Bill Hughes, psychic medium. He's been on Hannah's pod. He actually interviewed Hannah for
Yes.
her podcast last season,
Mm.
and he had been kind of watching me in the background. Not that I knew it online, and he had his own little show on SPTV, Spiritual Psychics TV, and he invited me on to work with him. And then it was I think was it November or August? I can't remember which one it was, but it was in 2022. It might have been the August actually, because a long time. No, it was actually November. So in November 2022, I got a message from him out of the blue saying, right, this church has asked me to do a date for them. I've got 4 dates. Pick one because you're doing it. And it's one of those moments you get the opportunity, you start sweating, your hands start going clammy. You think, I know I need to say yes to it, but I don't know if I can do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. And I thought, you know what? I'll give him a date in April. So that's like 5 months away. I thought if I give him a date in April, I can then put it on my mind for the next 5 months. I ain't got to worry about it. I'll worry about it nearer time. So anyway, April came around and you start sweating again, don't you think? And why did I say yes to this? And why am I doing it? And so the demonstration was me and him obviously together. And I sat on the platform with him. He started off and I sat there and in my head I was like, you can't do it. Why are you here? What if you get up, or if you stand up here and nothing comes out of your mouth? What if spirits don't turn up? And almost like talking myself out of it. But as soon as I stood up, I started, and the whole thing was fine. But it was very, very nerve-wracking. It's like I say, my first one, and we were sold out. There's 100 people in the audience. So all of them people looking at me, and you feel like you're almost the only one on that stage, and you're not. You've got someone else, but you feel like you're the only person. And so yeah, but it went very well. I think you can find it online actually. It is on YouTube.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's on YouTube somewhere.
Okay.
but I'd need to find it because it is there because it was filmed live as well. So the
Nice to
Oh,
see it.
producer
Yeah.
for the
so
producer
much
for
pressure on you.
SPTV, I
Oh, good.
know. I know everyone at home watching, and I made people cry in the audience, and I was like, "Oh my god, what am I doing here?" Um, but, but yeah, but it went well,
Mm,
and
that's
then
good.
we've worked together since then as well, and we're working together again next year, but this year I should say.
Mm,
Uh, but no, once I got into it, I started to enjoy it more.
mm,
Mm,
I think there's always going to be the nerves that are going to be there, especially if it's a new venue that you're doing. Regular venues don't get nervous so much, but um, I think it's always the unknown, isn't it? Because with this work, nothing is
mm,
guaranteed.
no.
mm,
So when you go to work and stand on a platform, you don't know who's going to turn up, what they're going to say. Am I going
mm,
to get to the right person? Because nothing's scripted.
Mm,
Unlike when you go to like your 9 to 5 job, no matter what it is, you know what you're doing day to day.
mhm,
mm,
You know there's going to be the outcome at the end of the day. You're gonna, I don't know, whatever job it is,
mm.
and it's guaranteed. But with mediumship, nothing's guaranteed
nothing.
because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, it's experimental,
Mm.
right? And so that's where the nerves always are for me, is that I never know what's going to happen. But now I try to get a bit more excited rather than nervous before a
Mm.
dem
Mm.
because it always goes much better, I find.
Mm.
And do you think there is a difference between in public or on Zoom about the
Yeah,
energies?
yeah, it's a good question, and yeah, I think so. I think when you're actually in a public venue, you can feel the energy
Mm,
because you've got the people there,
Mm.
and people are focused. They've come to see you for a reason, whereas online, we've all seen it. I'm sure we've all seen it. I've certainly seen it where people go onto their cameras and they're either lying in beds, they've hardly got any clothes on, they're smoking and drinking,
yeah.
they're having their
Mm.
dinner, they're
Yeah.
taking you for a walk around their house,
Mm.
and as that there's no, what's the word I'm looking for? Don't want to say respect. That's probably
Yeah, a
respect is
sort
one
of
of them,
respect.
No
but
structure. No structure. Like,
it's
yeah.
just no. There's
Mm.
no decorum. It's like you wouldn't, and if you're sat in a church, you would not get up from your seat and walk around
There's no
whilst,
respect. Respect.
and that's what it is. And I
Mm.
think it's
Mm.
just different energy. And I think, and even on Zoom, and myself, like many mediums, we work differently on Zoom than we would in the church. Because in the church, you can see everyone at the same time. Whereas if you've got 50
Mm.
people watching a Zoom, I'm not sitting there flicking through screens. I'm sorry, I'm not doing that. It's
Mm.
just this
Yeah.
too, do you know what I mean? Lose my focus. Whereas in
Mm.
the church, you can go, right, I feel I'm over there, might be over there somewhere, I don't know. Um,
Mm.
and you can have a bit more of a back and forward. It's like if you go to a concert, you know, if the crowd is shouting at the artist's going to give more back. You've got that back
Mm.
and forward. And so no, it is different. I still do online now and again, but as nervous as I get in a physical venue, I think I'd rather be in a
Mm,
venue,
okay.
to be honest,
Mm.
because you
Yeah.
get that. It's a bit more buzzy.
And
Mm.
I know you love to bring joy during your
Yes.
demonstration because I saw you just one time for a demonstration on Spirit Social. And do you think it's easy when you're in public to do that too? Do you play music before? Because I know in the AFC how they do that, but maybe in a different venue, in a theater or something like that. Do you have the same? Do you play music and everything like that? Sorry.
Um, no,
Okay.
I've done a lot of churches and a lot of centres. And obviously they don't do anything kind of music wise there because they're a bit set in their ways. I love the story. But when I've done demonstrations with Bill, for example, and some others, they've always played music at the beginning to get people going. Some people like it, some people hate it, in fact.
Mm.
Um, but I think a lot of it is reading the audience. And when you walk into a theatre or you're in a village hall or somewhere like that, you can generally pick up on the fact, are they going to be a good audience or are they not? And so you kind of have to figure out along the way, okay, do I do this or don't I? I mean, I'm just me anyway, right? So I can't do, I will say to people, I can't do boring mediumship. I can't stand there going, welcome, and tonight we're gonna, no, I can't do that. It's not my personality. So I've got to, I'm quite jovial. I like to have a laugh. I'm respectful. I don't stand on stage effing and blind, you're not swearing, nothing like that. But I have a laugh. And I think that that's the best way for me to work personally, is to raise my energy, and then my links are better. And so if I don't play music, I'll just be like, oh, hello, how are you? Like, put a smile on your face, whatever. I don't sit there, your face, arms folded, face like a smacked ass. Cheer up, would you? And that kind of, people then know, oh, okay, so it's not serious. It's got a bit of character about him, and that's what people like, I think. So, but yeah, sometimes play music, sometimes we don't. But just depends on the people, really, on the venue, if they'll allow it. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I have kids around.
No, not at all.
Thank you very much for your answer.
No, you're welcome. Absolutely fine.
Thank you. Full of life, like mediumship.
Absolutely. How it should be. Linda.
Can I ask you a question, David?
Of course you can, yeah.
Yeah. So what would you find difficult, or what do you find that you like best in a group, like as in, the way people, or one-to-one? Does that have a major effect? Or
I do prefer groups and demonstrations. I do one-to-ones, but I do prefer the groups. I think because it's a different energy. When you're working on platform or doing groups, there's more variety. You've got a bit more of a buzzy atmosphere, and you've got different personalities, different characters. So you know that that it feels like there's less pressure in that sense, because you've got different characters, you've got different energies to bounce off, and if you've got 4 or 5, if you've got like 80 people in the audience, you know that someone's going to take a spirit person, right? Generally, is what happens. But I feel like when you in one-to-ones, as much as some of them I do enjoy, and they can be really great.
Yeah,
they can feel flatter, because it's just you and that person, and that person, whether they acknowledge it or not, comes with a certain level of expectation that they want to hear from a certain person. Whereas if you're doing a demonstration, it's pretty much a free-for-all, right? So in that, although it might feel like there's more pressure doing that, it's actually there's less pressure doing a demonstration than there is doing a one-to-one reading. And so I think some people will come along. Luckily for me, I've not had too many difficult clients, to be perfectly honest. I've been quite lucky in that sense. Something I've had a couple, but it's nothing that I can go, oh my God, that really affects me. But I think that, the energy is just very different, and you have to work a slightly different way. I mean, in the one-to-one, you can be far more personal, and you're there for that one person for like 45 minutes. Well, I am anyway, or at least normally go over. But in a demonstration, you're with somebody only for 7 minutes, so you've got that difference as well. And so with the 7 minutes, you've got to get out what you can in 7 minutes. But then with a one-to-one, you've got more time. But there might be some one-to-ones you do where you say something in the first 10 minutes, that's all they need. But then I have to still continue talking, because I can't say, right, thank you very much. 10 minutes, I'll still take your money. So you've got to get that balance as well. So I do hope that answers your question. I prefer.
And did you ever have anybody that was like, say, the other way, like as you said, if you have a group audience, the other way, like you're probably tired when you're going around them, but at least you have a few minutes, but you're zapping all your energy. What happens, or did it ever happen to you, like say you had a one-to-one with somebody, and you just, their expectations was maybe one thing, but there was just a big block in the middle, like of negativity or something, like, you know me asking, what do you do, like how did it ever happen? Or
got to be honest, so one woman I had, it started off, she's a bit miserable, but she cheered up by the end. But
Mm.
she couldn't work Zoom properly, or something wrong with Zoom her end, or whatever else, things
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
And she came on completely miserable, negative energy.
Mm.
So I said
Mm.
to her, "You don't seem quite happy today, do you?" Just said it like that.
God. Yeah.
And she explained why. And I said, "Well, let's change the atmosphere, shall we? Let's get on with it." And it turned out a really nice reading at the end.
Mm.
Um, but the one girl that I had, I will never read for her ever again. She was quite young. She came in, and I'd brought her through two spirit people. Um,
Mm.
you have the feeling with someone they don't quite want to take them because someone else they want to hear from, right?
Mm.
And so she was going, yeah, kind of, yeah. And I was like, like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
So that was 15 minutes in, and I thought, you know what, this don't feel right to me. So I
Mm.
said to her, so right, let's do this another way. It's not 0800 dial a ghost, but let's see if there's somebody you want to hear from, tell me, and I'll try and link in with them. And she goes, I
Mm.
don't really want to tell you. So I said,
Oh.
well, you got two options then. We can either finish it now and I'll refund you your money, or you can tell me and I'll try and get the link. And if I can't, I'll tell you. So I was there with her for another half an hour, brought her dad through, but she was still going, yeah, no, I get it. And so I was thanked. I couldn't wait to finish that reading. So anyway,
Yeah.
I emailed her back and said, look, wasn't necessarily the best reading. Try and put the blame on myself, but actually, if I look at it, it was mostly her as well. So
Mm.
I offered her, so I gave her half of her money back. Right? I didn't
Okay.
get a thank you back. I didn't even get an acknowledgement. I got nothing from her whatsoever. And luckily, that's the only time that's really happened to me. But it's a
Yeah.
lesson, right?
Yeah.
So I know that I'm not gonna read forever again, and that's that. But you
Mm.
have to be honest and say, look, if I'm not getting a link here, I'm
Mm.
not getting it. There's
Yeah.
nothing I can do at this particular minute. I'm not going to sit here
Yeah.
in my ass trying to get this link
Yeah.
when nothing's happening. So
Mm.
because a lot of the time it can be the client that comes in with those expectations of want to hear from a
Mm.
certain person, and if you don't want to
Mm.
tell me who that certain person is, then what do you want me to do? Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So that's kind of point where you go, do you know what, this is not working today. And that used to be one of my fears, though,
Yeah.
that would happen, and it
Yeah.
did. But I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You say, look, this is not happening. Here's a
Mm.
refund. They might be upset at that particular minute
Yeah.
or slag off, whatever.
So,
But if you look
mm.
at everything else that you've done, you know what, that one reading out of
Yeah.
a couple of thousand that I've done, which didn't
Yeah.
quite work out.
Yeah.
I'm telling myself this advice and I'm giving it to you, but because it's not
Yeah.
always easy, because it is that
No, that's
hit
what
to
I'm saying. Yeah. It looks all so easy all the time, but
yeah,
but
and it's
mm.
you get challenging people like you do in any job anyway, right? You get those
Yeah.
challenging customers, but it's just it happens sometimes. Luckily, not too much, but
No.
um, it's
I could
yeah.
just ask you, David. Sorry if I keep talking, but do you
No,
think that, like, say, no matter what way people are, whether psychic or medium, is there, like, do you think that just preparation, like, say, before you do a reading or like mediumship, like, do you think people have to be protected, like yourself, like, or people that are practicing, because you know what I mean? Because you're it's for like a development. How do you mind yourself? Does that make the sense?
yeah.
Like,
But I'm very
before and
honest here.
after. Yeah.
Yeah, I I don't do anything. I I say to my guides, right, I'm getting ready to work. Make sure you turn up. If not, I'm not doing it ever again.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I threaten them a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
I don't do any protection. I don't do any grounding. And
Mm.
my reason for that is, so I always give
Okay.
reasons behind it,
Yeah.
is if we're connecting with love, what we're protecting ourselves from.
Yeah.
Because it's different. If you've got a deviant mind,
Mm.
then I, I don't necessarily believe in attachments or demon or anything like that. But
Yeah. Yeah.
if you've
Yeah.
got a deviant mind and your intention is not good and it's not pure, then I would say that person, whoever that is, needs to sort themselves out, and maybe do a bit of protection or whatever. But because of the,
Mm.
the place I come from
Yeah.
a work point of view in ethics, I
Mm.
don't want to connect with any low vibration energies. I don't want to connect with anything
Yeah.
dark or negative. I only work for those in spirit, right?
Mm. Mm.
Now, I will say at the beginning of my development, I did. I protected myself and grounded myself before any spiritual thing that I did because I was told in my development group that's what I needed to do.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
they're old school, right? These
Yeah.
churches are very stuck in the dark ages.
Mm.
And so, and I like that. Yes, just keep yourself protected from humans. Absolutely. But no, we
Mm.
always say, it's not not the dead that will hurt you, it's the living. So yeah, I completely
Yeah.
agree.
Mm.
Absolutely. So yeah, beginning my development, I did always do that. Again, I was told to do it, but you realize that if you're doing this work, look, I've been doing this work nearly 10 years. I've never
Mm.
been harmed once,
Yeah.
not once, because I don't work in the dark, I work in the light. But also, just to add to the pot here,
Mm.
if our spirit guides are here to love us and protect us and guide us,
Yeah.
if we're asking for protection, they need sacking because what are they there for? What are they doing? So when mediums say to me, "Do not protect yourself," no, why? Well, if that happens, well, what are your guides for? Because if my guide don't protect me, I don't want them.
Mm.
I'd rather sack them. So a lot of things out in this industry are hypocritical. That people are saying one thing and they're not doing it themselves, or the other way
Yeah.
around. And so yeah. So I don't. No, I don't
Mm.
believe in because if it makes people feel better, then do it. Right? I'm not taking
Mm.
away from anybody. If surrounding yourself in light or whatever else helps to keep you feel set, helps you to feel safe, then no, then do it. But it's not personally
Mm.
something that I do. If I was going to do like a ghost paranormal thing, whatever they're called these days, I might think about it. But then at the same time, I think, well, what's going to harm me?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, but
Yeah.
that's just my mindset.
Yeah.
Other people are different. They want that protection,
Mm.
which is fine. But it's just if your mindset doesn't go there, then what can hurt you? Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So if
Mm.
you feed into certain things, then it might happen. But I don't feed into it. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I don't do that. But each to their own.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda, for your question. Oh, Amy Lee has got a question. Amy Lee, hello to you.
David, how do you feel about the concept of the possibility that your guides are actually a facet of your higher consciousness and a part of you?
Do you know what? That's one thing I've been thinking about quite a lot recently because whilst designing these workshops that are coming up, I considered doing one on spirit guides and I thought, well, I can't because at the minute I'm questioning them quite a lot. And so it's what I'm not battling with it, but it's because coming back to someone's question earlier on, is that because I don't always feel them there, I'm then starting to think, well, if I don't feel them there, is it really just my facet of my higher self
Mm.
then that I'm talking to? Because I almost expect them to feel them like a spirit person, and I don't. Do you know what I mean? And
Yes, I
so
Mm.
do know what you mean because I've
I've
been
got
battling with it too.
I've got all that, so I don't so I don't really know. Um, what I'd like to do personally is to have a past life regression session. And I've said this for a long time to see if anything comes through from there. Because I've been told I've come from the 15th century and I was this, that, and the other. Um, just from a random medium, which,
Mm.
thanks for that. Didn't ask for it, but I got it. But there you go. Um, and so I don't know, Amy Lee, is my honest answer to that because it's something
That's fair.
I'm
That's
questioning.
totally fair.
Although
Mm.
I've had validations though of who my guides are that no one else could know about. And so in
Mm.
that sense, I've got to acknowledge it some way and go, right, I know they are there, but
Mm.
then yeah, and then think, well, okay, but then is that just a part of me and all that kind of stuff? So yeah, I'm in my
Mm.
head
And
at the minute with it as well.
so, things that I've thought about, and I love to hear your take on it. The idea that they come in as we need them to, because that's what we're receptive to. And even if they are facets of our higher consciousness, that they still come in a certain way that we're going to be able to hear and we're going to be able to connect with, especially
Yeah.
as we're in whatever, level and or part of the path that we're on in our journey, and how it kind of morphs and changes through time. Again, I told you I'm not terribly far on my own personal journey, but even within the last year and a half, things have morphed quite considerably
Yeah.
and changed, and it almost feels like it's changing with my needs and my development.
No, I
How do
believe
you feel
that.
about that?
Yeah, no, I do. 'Cause I believe that, your guy, because I've had different guides as well. And I
Yeah,
believe that they've come in for different reasons. So all my guides that I've got are all there for different purposes. I've
Mm.
got about 5 guides.
yeah,
All have their
Mm.
own function and different purpose. And I do believe that some will leave once they've had their little, the little bit with, done a
Mm.
little dance with me, and then others will come in then to take me down another path. And I know that
Mm.
when I realized a long time ago that I suddenly became clairaudient, a new guide stepped in at the same time. And
Mm.
so I think, okay, there's a link there. It's not, I don't believe in coincidence or whatever, but
Mm.
I believe they will come in when they go, right, you're stepping up now. Let's level you up a little bit, or let's give you something else to look at. If you're
Yeah.
going to start your healing journey, you might get a healer guide, then suddenly step in to help you with that part of your journey as well. So I do believe that. I do believe we
Mm.
get different guides at different parts of our life when we need it. But they know more
Mm.
than we do, is what I say. I don't
Mm.
call them in. It's just they turn up and think, okay, you're here. All right. That's what I need to do. That's what I need to do then.
Mm.
So that's how I lead. That's how I deal with them. Just let it flow. I don't think about guides too much anymore. I think at the beginning you do, because you want to know who are they, where did they come from, what's their inside leg measurement, and all that stuff.
Mm.
But I don't get hung up on it anymore. I know they're there, but at the end of the day, I'm the
Mm.
one that's doing the work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think a lot of the time, I think what it is, when I think I'm getting a spirit guide message, it's not. It's more. It's more. It feels like more like inspiration that I've been
Mm.
told. Okay, write the book. Is that coming from my guides, or is that just my own self
Yeah.
telling me, okay, it's time
Mm.
to write the book? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but
Mm.
now I don't get too caught up in it. I go, oh, I'm listening, and I write it down in case I forget. And that's a good trick. If you know it's inspiration or from your guides when you forget something. So I can have a download of something in my head, and then like an hour
Yeah.
later, I think, "Oh bugger, what did they say to me?" I completely gone out of my mind, and
Mm.
I know
Yeah.
that's
I'm
inspiration. That's not my thought.
Thank you
Mm.
for saying that. That happens to me regularly, and I'm always
Same as
a
yourself.
bit frustrated with myself because
Oh,
it
yeah,
feels profound at the time, right? It feels profound,
Yeah.
and then
yeah,
suddenly it's gone, and I was like, "No, that was important. Why did I
that was
forget
really
that?"
good.
So,
Yeah.
so that's actually an interesting perspective. I appreciate that.
Mm.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I've
Yeah.
got notes on my phone and my notepad because I know.
Yeah.
Not even
Hmm.
an hour later, like half an hour later, I'll go, oh. And actually, it was yesterday. I was doing a course. Like, what should I call this course? The workshop. It got put in my head. I thought, right, that's a great title. 10 minutes later, I went to create the poster, and I thought, I can't remember the name of that title. I can't remember the title of that workshop.
Yeah.
Bugger. So I know that didn't come from me. It just dropped in my head. So it's come from somewhere. It's
Mm.
not my thought. It came back
Mm.
eventually, but I thought, oh, I've lost it. So I
Yeah.
know that was come from somewhere. But yeah. So
I
I'm glad
also
that
find that a lot of the information that comes through during readings is gone almost
gone.
immediately. If I don't
Absolutely. Yeah.
record it down or I don't write it down immediately afterwards,
Yeah.
it's like
That's
it
yeah.
comes
Yeah.
through and then it passes
Mm.
through and then it's gone.
That's it. And I think you'll find you'll speak to every medium and they'll say the same thing
Yeah.
because they're borrowed thoughts. They're not our
Yeah.
thoughts. If it's something we had made up, we'd remember it, like a song lyric or something like that.
Mm.
But
Mm.
we're just the middle person. We're the puppet. As soon as we've said something, it's gone. So we're not going to. I mean, people said to me, "Remember you said to me last month." I don't. Who are you? Because so many so many people. And I think well, that means to be rude, but I don't remember who you are. If I've read for you before, yeah.
Mm.
Okay. So yeah, it's just it's not our medium spirit. The brain can't do mediumship because the brain is physical. It's not spirit.
Okay. Mm.
It's your mind is the spirit part of it. Your brain is the physical part of it, and the brain can't do it. And so that's why we don't retain anything.
Yeah.
So if I'm on the platform, sometimes I end up losing my words because my brain's not engaged because I'm paying attention to spirit. So that's how you know it's spirit. You lose your words, you can't think. You're not supposed to think doing mediumship anyway, but yeah, it's a funny old thing, isn't it? The brain,
Mm.
the mind.
Indeed. Trying to turn it off is always fun.
Yes.
Thank you.
Or not. Yeah, well, you are welcome. Right, well, it's 8 o'clock and I'm gonna have to go. But I appreciate you all joining this evening, and I thank you for your questions and for your interaction, your participation. I'll try and get one of these done again at some point soon as well. But yes, I'll be on the Spirit Social app, as I'm sure the rest of you will be. But so we'll have workshops and masterclasses coming up soon as well. So if you're interested, check them out. But yeah, thank you and good luck on your journeys as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, David. Appreciate
Thank you so much.
No worries. You are welcome. Look after yourselves.
Bye. Bye.
you.
Bye.
See you.